Aw, snap. Also, I fucking hate this belt. It's always getting caught on my fucking headphone cable. It's happening. I'm fucking tired. Fucking annoying. Also, yes, I did forget to open my chat on my laptop so I could see it. Thanks for asking, I appreciate it. I'm now taking my sweet time to open it. Why not? I have no one to entertain for at least a minute or two before people actually start showing up. So I'm going to use that minute or two on my chat and this bit over here and bam. Look at that, looking all nice. Slightly tilt my screen so I can see it. There we go. So, the Raven Remastered. Back at it again. Sure, my phone is muted before I go to bring something up. Come on, phone, you could do it. There we go. This is... I was a little worried for a second when I started. When I saw this game as free for gold, I was like, is that the game I think it is? The answer is yes. It is the game I thought it was. And now I'm excited to bring a very brand new, very special stream exclusively for this game. Because there's no way I could, pass up this chance. Yeah, come on, Tracer, come get cozy. Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3. Don't remember where I got last time I played this game. It's been 6 years now, as it turns out. Hint, if you're stuck, try talking to all the characters. It'll take forever. You should do it anyways, right, Tracer? Yeah? I gotta scooch you for a bit. I'm sorry, but I'm also not sorry. Kinda brought this on yourself. Like you didn't, but you did. Also, it shows how much of an impact this game made on me that I don't remember this at all. I remember a little bit. I can't tell if this was original intro or if this is here for the remaster.
Thrilled, Miss Penguin.
The Raven's heir. Soon as one of them's caught, another one takes his place. Hey, Harold, have you read this? Harold?
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 Gotta go check on his homeboy. Also, they definitely did make it look a tad bit better, I think.
You hear me?
I don't remember if it looked this good when I first played it, but we'll find out.
Fun and games.
Because here in a moment, I'm gonna reveal why this is a special stream and why I'm so very excited for it.
Shh, calm down. I'm a copper. We're on the same side.
A copper? What are you doing here? And where's Harold?
Harold? Well, there's another guard back there unconscious. That's probably him. The Eye of the Sphinx. Where is it?
It's there.
Oh, good.
The characters' faces look so weird.
You mean the Raven's heir?
Shh, turn it off. He's gonna steal the eye.
But how do you know?
Doesn't matter. All that matters is that we catch him. Do you understand?
Yeah, but
Do you understand? You and me, mate, we'll be heroes. All right, now, we just have to...
what?
Yoink.
Halt! Stop! You're under arrest!
This is the way that thief runs. Jesus. Arms all the way out. Man runs like a bird. It's part of the get up, I guess. And that is the end of all of the interesting bits of the game. This is the entirety of it. But now I can mention, why is this a unique stream? Because I reviewed this game at one point. Sorry for the odd pause, I coughed. Many years ago, I reviewed this game. It is exactly how I remember it, I'm pretty sure. It's like very interesting, unique intro, and then after this, everything kind of slows down by quite a lot. And the whole Raven's Heir storyline doesn't even show up for at least probably an hour into the game, if not more.
Hands up!
I don't have time to
Oh
play.
no.
I'm on duty.
Sounds like I'm such an ass. Like, fuck you, I don't want to play, you little shit.
You don't look like a real cop. You don't even have a revolver.
He should go away. Who is he? Toy gun.
Why do you need the gun?
It's the Raven. He
Those
was
are
gunned down.
weird
Now
ways
I
to-
need a pistol.
Dead birds don't need guns. Nor do live ones.
You don't know who the Raven is, do you? He's the greatest burglar ever. He stole paintings from the Louvre and those priceless eggs with gold and diamonds and stuff. And Bob
Fabergé eggs.
He replaced the crown jewels with rhinestones.
I know who the Raven was.
Is that kid's
Although
eyes
I
crossed?
don't quite buy that bit about the crown jewels. What's your name, boy?
My name is Matthew Miller
And where are you from, Matthew Miller?
from
Come on.
Dillsburg, Pennsylvania.
Wait.
But my mom and I live in England now.
Is this-
We're taking care of some
Is this the only angle we're getting for the next minute?
We're taking a cruise on a big ship.
Impressive. You've already seen half the world. I've spent my
So
entire
we're just-
life in Switzerland.
Must be
We're just having this
fun.
entire conversation from behind the kid's
You
head.
do know that these days there are thieves far more dangerous than your old Raven. 2 days ago,
There we
a
go.
precious ruby was stolen from the British Museum. There was an explosion. A guard was severely injured.
Really?
Yeah. And you know what the papers say?
Ah,
You talk too much, Constable.
Zellner, monsieur. Anton Jakob Zellner.
Or did he pull a gun on you?
No, monsieur.
Get a move on.
Inspector
Um,
Legrand.
what?
It's a great honor to work with a celebrity like you.
We appreciate
What?
the support of the Swiss police. But
Okay, so
would
I'm
it be
Swiss.
better if you'd remain seated and keep an eye on things.
He's like, oh, shut the fuck up.
But monsieur, your journey on this train is most unusual. Is it related to the burglary at the British Museum?
Not in the least.
And the safe?
I
What's
wonder.
that for?
I'll let you know if we need your help, Constable. If you'll excuse me, I'll be
Sit
in the
down and
first
shut up
right
is what he's
car at
saying.
the back of the train for the rest of the trip.
I'm not here to enjoy the beautiful scenery. I am a good observer, and I have.
I am a
finely
good
honed
observer
powers
with
of
finely
deduction.
honed powers of deduction.
Thanks to that,
I watched the people on the platform in Zurich. I know, for example, that man over there is a violinist.
that would be more impressive if there weren't a violin case next to him.
And I believe that the gentleman in the next
Hey,
carriage
thanks
was
for
a
joining.
German doctor on his way to Italy to take up a new position.
Making fun of this game is fun, but making fun of this game with people
There's
is
the
even more
rod of
fun.
Asclepius engraved on his cufflink. And he's carrying a German-Italian dictionary.
Maybe he's just taking a holiday in Italy, following in Goethe's footsteps.
Too much luggage.
I'm not listening to any
No,
of this
he's not
dialogue.
retiring to Italy either. The suitcases are too shabby for me to believe that he can afford to retire in his late 50s.
All right then, Constable.
Is he in his late 50s?
Constable Zeller.
Guy doesn't look that old.
If you're such a clever fellow.
No, I've been streaming for just like a couple minutes now.
I think you're looking for
Searching
someone.
for something.
You're just guessing.
Someone, I don't know.
If I were looking for
I am just
someone,
guessing.
I wouldn't spend the trip cooped up in a freight car, now would I?
Well, that would seem to indicate that you're guarding something.
And what might it be?
I really couldn't say.
Whatever's inside the
But
safe.
it must be very important.
Why is that?
Because you are very important. They wouldn't have assigned the case to you if it were just a trifle.
Let's
God,
assume
why is-
that we really are transporting something.
Literally all of this dialogue is just shot straight on.
Let's assume that it really
It's
is
just-
not to see that it
I
arrives.
stare at him, he stares at me.
Then why is
Someone
the
talks, the
train
camera spins around, that's it.
It's a trap.
You've got a vivid imagination. I'll give you that. Well,
My
that is
parcel
a
did not
little
arrive.
to admit. But
I
the
did not
fewer
see
people
anything
involved,
outside.
The better. We'll get along fine without you.
You won't.
I'll check the mail at some point, but I don't think it would be in my mailbox. It's pretty small.
I can help, and I will help. You are in my country, and I've
Well, there
been
was some
ordered to
guy out on
assist
the,
you, and that's exactly what
out in
I'll
the
do,
parking lot
whether
playing a
you like it
guitar.
or not.
That was pretty cool when I went to look for the parcel.
Stop. Your commitment speaks
Playing a song I
volumes,
recognized, but I couldn't name
this
it.
is my show, and I don't need you. Bon voyage.
But how do you know?
Also, how is it hot in my room? It was like freezing earlier, now it's burning.
Oh, hello.
You cheated.
I did what?
I saw you talking
What?
to the German doctor on the platform. He told you everything himself, and you were just pretending to put two and two together.
And what of it?
I
Do
was,
you
but
know
shut
who
the fuck
that
up,
is?
kid.
That's Inspector Nicholas Legrand. You have to impress him if you want to work with him.
I'm going to tell on you.
You'd really tell on me? To the very policeman who shot your dear Raven?
Whoa, it was him?
Mm-hmm. Hunted and killed Europe's most famous bird.
Cool, I'm glad we're getting all this expedition.
I won't tell him a thing.
I wouldn't either. All right, Matthew.
I feel like I used the wrong word.
I have to do my work now.
I definitely did.
Everyone calls me Matt. Well, except for my mom.
What's the
She
fucking
calls
word
me
I'm looking
Matt,
for?
As if I were a little
Exposition.
kid.
Said it with a D for some
Whether
reason.
Legrand wants my help or not, I'll keep my eyes open. Maybe I can change his mind.
Maybe you can stop looking. You wanna learn about the game controls?
This morning I thought
Yeah,
I
in the
wouldn't be
sandwich
hungry
paper,
because
press
of
A.
all the excitement. Thankfully, I bought a sandwich with me anyway.
Select the sandwich paper again, you'll see that some of this plate has changed. Now it's take sandwich paper. Very good, now press Y, this opens the inventory. The left stick to select the sandwich paper and press A. Now you can use the sandwich paper with the apple core to fold it up.
I wrapped the apple core in the sandwich paper. That way I can carry it without making a mess of my trouser pocket. Still, I'd prefer not to have to carry them all day.
Paper napkin, paper in the... Put the paper napkin with A and it's like the sandwich paper in the inventory with A.
The napkin came with a croissant I
Oh,
bought
there
at
we
the
go.
train station. A guilty pleasure. I don't need that either.
But we'll combine the items. Oh, adventure game mechanics.
Every table has its own wastebasket. Practical. No need to ever leave your seat.
You
Every
fucking
table
left your
has
seat.
its own wastebasket. Practical.
Dump the
No
litter
need
from
to
your
ever leave
inventory
your
into the
seat.
ashtray on Zellner's table. This is Zellner's table? I was sitting at his table. That wasn't too hard, was it? It's
All
not.
right.
Oh my god, why is there a loading screen? What the fuck? Oh, and I was gonna say this earlier, but I was waiting for a good kind of momentary lull in the action. This is not a Game Pass game, this is free for gold. Which is ironic, because 6 years ago, on December 1st, because I had to look this up to check when the date was, this game was offered free for gold on 360. And then it was re-released and remastered and was released free for gold this December of 2020. So 6 years later, the same game has been offered as free for gold. But here's the bit that made me want to play this game. Was when this game was released free for gold, I was reviewing every single free for gold game. I was going through them one after another, reviewing them as they were coming out. And this was one of the 2 free for gold games that I played in December of that year that I reviewed. Because I did about a dozen or so reviews, and this game happened to be one of them. And so I
We
figured
Swiss are crazy about trains. We don't just
I can
have a
stream
lot of
this game,
railroads. We have the most
and I can
beautiful
also
ones in
read
the
out
world.
this review that I did for the game. Actually, quite long. I did not expect it to be as long as it is. I had to go into my my Google Drive and find it and bring it up.
I don't want to sit in the draft.
Oh, pardon.
If you don't want to sit in the draft, then move.
I have
Well, that
no
was
reason to
a,
bother the violinist. He can stay in the stuffy air if he prefers.
That was a waste of my time.
The vicarage in the mirror. A detective novel
So,
by
I am a little
favorite
disappointed that you
author,
missed the
Lady
intro
Elvis
scene.
Westmacott.
Because the intro scene is like the Raven character stealing the jewel, and it's quite dramatic.
The
Meanwhile, the
violinist is a good-looking fellow.
rest
He's
of the game is
traveling
pretty
through the most
boring.
beautiful mountain landscape of the world. But one can only hope that his violin is better tuned than he.
violin is, what does that mean? His violin is better tuned than he.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Are you traveling to Istanbul?
You going, buddy?
Stop.
No. I'll transfer in Venice to a ship. I'm on my way to Cairo.
Cairo.
I'm
Egypt.
performing at the
Why?
reception in the Egyptian museum there.
Oh, cool.
I'm sure your recital will be.
That's
a
probably
great
important to the story at some point.
Tell me, did you notice anything unusual on the train?
Anything unusual?
Persons acting suspiciously, for instance.
For heaven's sake, is there cause for concern?
Everything is in order, sir. We Swiss are just very cautious people.
I understand. No,
Why?
I didn't notice anything.
Dialogue is so awkward in this game. I don't remember that.
Very kind of you. Thanks.
Why? What?
Pardon me.
What the fuck?
No problem. The uniform is waterproof. Mr.
Lucio.
Why did my guy like step out of the way and then step back into the guy's way when he walked by?
Are you a scientist? Do you teach at the Sorbonne?
No, I work at the British Museum in London.
Racer, what are you doing,
say.
dude? You in my backpack again? Yeah, she's in my backpack again. Going to hang out.
You were, shall we say, an eyewitness to the burglary 2 days ago.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Oh no?
There was a lot of commotion, but I didn't really pay much attention to it.
Didn't you pay
There was a
attention to it?
break-in in your museum, and it didn't concern you?
Well, let's just say that nothing that's happened in the last 2,000 years concerns me.
Oh, I'm into history because I'm a
Did
professor.
you notice anything unusual?
Now, how do I get out of this conversation?
Here,
Let
on the
me
train.
go free.
Well, I can't say that I have, although I did spend most of the time in my compartment.
I don't want to take up any more of your valuable time, but you do understand.
I'm starting to get the
don't
vague
you?
feeling.
What concerns me is the present,
I ate too many beans.
especially the robbery at the museum.
Yeah, of course, of course. It's just, I'm in rather a hurry.
Because I made too many beans for the recipe I was doing, and I was like, fuck it. I'll just eat the beans. Why not? Why not just eat the beans? The answer of why you shouldn't just eat the beans is
The
because you'll
door.
get sick.
I can't open it.
Ah, we'll sort it out somehow. The compartment is locked.
But I didn't lock it. I don't even have a key.
Then who
I asked
did?
the steward. He was going to bring me one, but he never came back.
Someone locked it.
Find the steward. He needs to bring me the key immediately.
Calm down, Professor.
Oh,
I'll see
fine.
what I can do.
You don't understand. I have to get back in my compartment.
All right, just wait here.
Oh my god, when is the conversation going to be over so I can leave?
This is the first car. The coal tender should be directly beyond this door, and in front of it, the engine.
Yes, that's how
The large
trains
map
work.
shows
Thank you
the
for pointing that
different
out.
routes of the Orient Express. This train began in Paris and ends in Istanbul as usual. Unfortunately, it will make most of its journey.
But it was funny.
by sea.
Yes, I'm talking over his dialogue. Fuck him, it's nothing interesting. I was going to read several of my reviews today. But this one's so fucking long. Like, if they're all this long,
The
then
little label on the door
it would take me
reads,
forever
"Baroness
to read through all of my
Blue blood of
reviews,
Orient
but I'll definitely read this one at least. So I've been putting it off, but I will go ahead and actually start reading it. Because, I was trying to decide when, but I was like, fuck it, I'll just do it now. So, I have to start this by giving you a description of what I was expecting, and then what I liked, so I don't get too buried in my deep hatred of this game. So the description reads, The Raven, Legacy of a Master Thief, is a thrilling crime adventure. Immerses you in both sides of the story. Also, god damn it,
It's all right.
with the
Miss Miller.
dialogue in the
I would like to
background.
speak to the inspector.
Unfortunately, just a constable, Lady Westmacott.
I'm
reading the
going to
video
let
mirror
the
right
dialogue
now
go
for the
through
fifth
because my
time.
brain does not have enough channels right now to both read and listen.
Anton Jakob Zellner.
This is my companion, Miss Miller.
A pleasure.
A pleasure. There. Now that they're done talking. So the description reads, The Raven Legacy of a Master Thief is a thrilling crime adventure. It immerses you in both sides of the story, combining the thrill of the chase whodunit with the risk and reward of a heist story. Now that sounds pretty awesome. Like a bit of being dark and brooding with a pure-hearted cop. It's a battle of wits with you both watching sides eagerly on the edge of your seat waiting for what comes next. Will the cop win or the legendary thief? Now that I've set your hopes up, let me be nice for just a moment longer. See, the theory of this game was an old-fashioned point-and-click adventure, mixed with improved graphics, 720p-ish, at the time, and a crime novelist as the writer. I like the premise, I like it a lot. That mixed with a mid-20th century Europe makes for an interesting combination. Gives the game a classic point-and-click mystery feel. It probably would have thrived hugely in the 1990s. The late 1990s is what I listed, but why I use the word hugely, I'll never know. But now the moment where I let loose a torrent of anger, frustration, and disappointment, of which I have much thanks to this pile of wasted effort. So to begin, I'm expecting a lot. I went into it excited. What I got was mediocre scenery with a lighting system that'll make you cry, and controls that make you wish both of the main character's legs were broken. First off, gameplay. The system that the game was based upon is a solid system. You have an inventory that you can use at any time, a notebook to keep track of things for you and give hints, plus a fixed camera and simple 4-way directional controls. Now, the inventory is going to end up cluttered with useless garbage, sometimes literally, and the items they give you don't always have an obvious use or sometimes any use at all. Some items, like a pair of scissors, the game might let you pick up, makes your character say things like, "If I need these, I know where to find them," which makes you think, oh, these will be important later. I should memorize where they are for future reference. Nope, I beat that section without even finding out why I would pick them up. Best of all, the loading screen has a tip which says to inspect everything. Every single thing in the entire freaking game. Nope, I'm done. But surely the notebook is useful. Sure, if you like being told what you already know again. Now, if you need a reminder, this is great. But the tip system inside sucks. Teehee. I'm hating myself from 6 years ago for making me say the word teehee. But seriously, it tells you almost useless information some character somewhere probably already said or at least hinted at. The notebook gets a free pass for helping fix forgetfulness, even though the flavorful drawings in it are sometimes just a waste of space. Man, I was really fucking bitter. I certainly cannot forget the control scheme in a hateful review like this. I mean, looking into objects, locking onto objects is sometimes good, until you get into a pacing session between two objects while you're trying to walk away from both of them. That's super fun. Or how about when you walk into a new camera's line of sight, your character locks up for a couple seconds while it shifts the controls. A Walking Dead game had this happen sometimes, but you could quickly adjust the constable has 2 left feet, and as such cannot. I should have put a comma there. But then there's my favorite. The cameras often have massive blind spots you can walk into, where your character can stand and not be seen. I had that happen way too often. Then it's Big Brother the camera lockup happens. That's where you walk into a new area and the camera decides it doesn't want to shift to the new camera and stays watching the old camera you left. Yeah, long story short, the controls were bogus. Now here's the fun part. The part that crushed me the most and fastest. The main character that you start with, I haven't even played with the Raven yet and I'm on to scene 2, is a Swiss constable known as Anton Jacob Zellner, who will introduce himself as Constable Anton Jacob Zellner to everybody he meets. Now my expectation was so far from what I got. I was expecting a middle-aged guy of average build and average face. What I got was a tubby old Swiss with heart problems. Imagine my disappointment. Man, I was mean. And I totally almost lost it when his hat flew off and it turns out he's almost completely bald. Man, I really am fucking mean. Shit, me from 6 years ago needed to fucking take a chill pill. So we've got a fat old balding Swiss constable with heart problems and an obsession with crime novels. Not even 10 minutes into the game and I wanted this guy shot. He was uninteresting and really grates on my nerves. But he's not the only awful character, he's just the biggest. Pun intended. The second character in scene 1 is a red-headed English-American boy who constantly runs around being a little shit. He's also one of the biggest side characters, as you have to keep talking to him to get stuff done. I'm looking forward to that. After meeting a couple more stereotypical characters, we come across one who actually glitched out on me. I'm not going to use the same word that I used in the past. The extremely overweight Baroness, who is constantly tended to by her butler. Man, I really was just fucking overly mean 6 years ago. Now I'm breaking this into another section so I can complain about what caused this glitch and the glitch itself. Now I was simply talking to the Baroness about something stupid, when suddenly her jaw starts going into her head, flipping in circles as she talks. I actually remember this. And this broke all the polygons in her face, causing a huge distortion. Well, at first I laughed it off, but it did have me look more into the characters' faces. I kinda ignored their blank looks, but now they began to bother me. They have facial expressions, just none including the mouth. All that moves is their jaw mostly. It looked awkward once I noticed it, but with absolute perfect teeth that were one long connected set, it became hugely disturbing.
May I ask?
Hold
what
up, I want
you're
to see
reading?
this.
Are you on holiday?
Holiday? Yes, so to speak. The first and last holiday of my life.
Oh my god.
I've been writing since I was a little girl.
I was
My
right.
job,
Past
and
me was
now I've
right.
stopped. So, this
Look at
must
their
be a
faces.
holiday.
You quit writing? Impossible. I have all of your
It's
books. Your
like
detective
just
Tom
half of
too
her
is my
mouth is
favorite
moving.
character.
Then I have bad news for
Yes,
you.
Tracer, find your fucking
I
chill,
wrote
okay?
off years ago.
I
Like the
don't
entire
understand.
upper half of her face
Rather
does not
not
move.
discuss my work, Constable.
That's
Oh.
terrifying.
Fine.
Oh no, this is absolutely a proper trip down memory lane for me. I wrote this review 6 years ago. When I first played this game, I did a review for this game, SSX Tricky, the fucking snowboarding game, and like 10 or so other games that I rented from a game rental store. Okay, back to my review, now that we've seen the terrifying facial animations. But now for probably one of the biggest complaints, the story. I felt no driving force in the story. Sure, there was the Raven, but he, she, pretty sure it being a she is going to be the punchline, rarely actually shows. They're the primary antagonist, but the constable is basically out to disprove them or find something stupid as a sort of side quest. Now, impressive was tying the side quest into the story sometimes. Not impressive was the story itself. It feels lacking for a story-driven game. The original Doom could get away with barely having any story. A point-and-click adventure cannot. I'm gonna call this done for now. And as my first game review, I'm sorry it had to be this game. Holy shit, this was my first game review. First one I ever did. I'm sorry it had to be this game. Damn. But hey, I gotta start somewhere. Actually, there's an Arkham City review on my Facebook page, but that doesn't count. That was a test run. That Facebook page probably still exists. I think it does. So I'm going to use a 100-point system to gauge games as this can allow... Okay, that's a serious typo. As this can allow me to get super specific and make my reviews easily comparable. So first score ever, 45. I give them almost half because the game was unique and was going somewhere not all dare to go. I like that, but it doesn't mean they didn't fail. Hard truths.
As much as I'd like to keep talking, duty calls.
You
So
were
yeah.
right.
Madam?
This game was my very first game review when I was 18,
Eager.
made in December of
It's
2014.
been a long time since I've had a chance to prove myself, madam.
And this is it. Your
Like,
chance.
all those years ago, this was the game that I started doing game reviews for, and I think I did it for about 3 months.
As my friend Ronald likes to say.
I shall do my best.
And I think most of my game reviews are still up somewhere on the internet. I have them all here with me. Because I saved all of them. I didn't delete any. Wait, did I just teleport? Yes. Wait, no, okay, it's just shorter than it looked. No, I did teleport. I did. Because you go directly past the bar. Like, the bar is here. And now I'm on the other side of it.
Butterscotch. I've loved them since I was a child. Their only drawback, they don't play nice with false teeth.
Oh, so the guy doesn't even have teeth.
Maybe if I just suck it.
Yeah, it's
Who would have
wild.
thought that one
Coming
day
back to this
Butterscotch would
game
remind
after,
me of
like,
my age and of all the things I had to leave behind.
6 years coming back and playing this game. And it's such a meaningless game.
I suppose the steward
Like,
won't object to me having a look around.
There's the fucking scissors I mentioned in the review! It's those pieces of shit. Let's see if I can get the dialogue to trigger. Here, how do I...
The
That's not
steward
great, okay.
probably uses the scissors on hard-to-open packages. These days, nearly everything is sealed up tight. A colleague recently told me about dry powdered soup in small bags. I couldn't believe it. I'll leave the scissors here. If I
I'll
need
leave the
them,
scissors
I know
here.
where to find
If I
them.
need them, I know where to find them. That's exactly what I fucking mentioned in my review.
I'll leave the scissors
Was
here. If I
that
need
line
them,
of
I know where
dialogue
to
right
find them.
there. And it made me mad because you never use those
Perhaps
fucking
the steward
scissors.
writes orders. Empty. Maybe he didn't use it because there's not much to do today.
Ooh, can I
don't
take
need
whatever
the
that is?
pad, but the pencil might come in handy.
The pencil might come in handy. See, and the game was
Perhaps he
just
keeps
like
the
grab
compartment
everything.
keys in there.
I don't know, find out, open it.
Where could he be?
Also love that I'm just like
Drawer is
poking
locked.
around back here.
A shortwave radio.
And the radio on. Cool, music. Now turn the radio back off. Thanks for the achievement.
It's amazing how small these things have become in the last 10 years. A shortwave radio.
No,
It's
I wanna
amazing how small these things have.
get out. Okay, you have to interact with that there. I was trying to hit the B button to like get out from behind there. Hi, random person. I don't want to talk to you. Also, I think the most interesting thing for me personally about reading my old review, you suspect? Try opening it. I strongly suspect the door is locked. Wait, hold up, it isn't. Cool, neat. You didn't even try the door. Why are you like, I suspect that it's locked?
Wow.
Don't move a muscle, you feathered fiend.
Hi. Just me.
Put the gun down, Robert. If I may introduce Constable Robert Oliver from the yard. And this is the revered
Cool.
Constable Zellner of the Swiss police, who obviously couldn't control his curiosity.
No, I'm looking for the steward.
I hope you'll acknowledge that I, as a Swiss police,
Are we still in Switzerland?
I could be your eyes on the train as long as you're here.
Oh, really?
Then I was right. You really do want
It
to
was a
lure
trap.
someone into a trap.
That's none of your business.
Perhaps.
I was
someone
right.
And
Bitch.
how would I bait my...
With something inside.
So,
What do you...
He tried.
Robert, we don't know...
He tried to
where
blow
he
me
went
up.
yet.
In any event, the new Raven is a more dangerous man than the old one.
Also,
How do you know it's a man? It could
Like-
just as easily be a woman.
Or seven.
see? See?
Anyway,
Again,
I know that it's
more
a
shit that I mentioned in my review where I'm like,
Never
it's
mind.
pretty clear that it's gonna be a woman. Like, that's the twist that's coming up.
Professor Lucien on the train. He's an archaeologist from London.
And what's his
They're gonna be
story?
like, oh snap.
It seems.
Turns
someone
out
locked
it
him
was a
out of his
woman the whole time.
Locked it out.
Well, yes.
Was it locked from inside?
It may have been.
Hmm.
Do you think the
I would
locked
assume
door
so.
could be important?
Professor Lucien plays an important role in this. Well then, Constable Zellner. Report back to me when you're through.
I'll go attend to the door now.
Good. And, Constable Zellner,
Yes?
don't
Yes.
bother us. And
Of course. A thief might get anxious if...
Exactement. Knock twice.
Understood.
No, I played the original version on the 360. When I did reviews, I didn't own an Xbox One, but it was out at the time.
That takes me one step closer. If I can convince him of my competence, I might even be able to...
The Xbox One existed, but I didn't own one. And I actually did a review of Shadow of Mordor. And in it, I actually mentioned that the 360 version is garbage. Because I remember having issues with that game in terms of the like model version. Let me look. See what I had to say since I have a physical copy. You wanna keep walking? You wanna not get caught on the wall repeatedly? Wait, can I not walk past here? Hello?
The steward must have forgotten the toothpicks. Normally, he would offer them discreetly after dinner.
Oh, there it goes. Oh, you're to be a little away from it. Okay. Yep, I mentioned that basically I had a bunch of glitches and I wasn't sure if it was because I had a rental copy. Oh, I reviewed on my laptop. I don't have like a piece of paper in my hands. It's on my phone. Wait, where's the steward supposed to be? I've walked from the front of the train to the back of the train and not seen the steward.
He doesn't make a very... And he of all people is...
Okay.
You can easily...
But I didn't.
You can easily lock the door, but I didn't
If
lock
you
it.
had locked the door
Not what I
from
said.
there-
Yeah, I did it all on Google Drive, and I still have the files. Still saved in my Google Drive. I did Batman Arkham Origins, Battlefield Hardline, Deus Ex Human Revolution, Free for Gold, SSX, The Raven, which is this game, Mad Max, Shadow of Mordor, Stranglehold, Time Shift, and Wet. I was reviewing a bunch of like little games. Also, I definitely made a terrible life choice in eating all those beans. I would just like to point that out.
Zelda.
Right. How can I help you?
Do you know where the conductor is?
I'd like to know that myself. I told him to search for my missing suitcase in Zurich. He hasn't got back to me yet. He's probably in cahoots with the thieves. And didn't bother getting back on the train. If we don't crack down on the...
Well, at the moment,
He's not here doing his...
He's not here doing his job, and that's bad enough.
Goodbye, Constable.
Cool. I'm gonna be back in 10 seconds. Blame it on the beans. Okay. I have returned, and I'm definitely mad that I left for even a second, because I ate way too many fucking beans.
Yes, what is it? Whoever that is, James, ask them whether they found my purse and then close the door. The noise on this train is...
You're missing a...
At the very least, I cannot find it, sir. It was stolen!
When did you... When was the last time the Baron...
What? In Zurich.
I just asked where...
In Zurich? James, tell him that I still had it. The Baron...
Maybe you'll...
What? The Baroness never... I know...
Very well, then. If
I thought... James...
Oh, I didn't want to ask that question. I keep hitting the D-pad to scroll through options, and it's not working. But on the hour of my having been streaming, which I guess will line up just about with the next half hour,
the train covers...
I will find
many
a second review to read out. I'll decide which one I want to go through. Where? Do here.
That will be quite
On the other hand, I really want a review. Or, not a review, a fucking... sign my book. So I need a way into there. So my guy seems to think they keep the keys in there. Also, where did the kid go? The train's only like 3 cars long, isn't it?
Extraordinary woman. Yet they say she can be difficult.
You trying to stay awake to hear all this? Okay, then I'll make sure to get at least one more. I'll read you out at least one more review.
I need a bit of wire
before you
or
fall
something
asleep.
like that to pick the lock. I need a bit of wire.
Bit of wire or something to pick the lock. Well, I have a toothpick.
I need a bit of wire.
Okay. Not what? Okay, toothpick. What am I missing? Toothpick on drawer. No? Pills, wallet, butterscotch, pencil, toothpick, detective story. My savior, yeah, sure.
Small paper wrappers. Nothing unusual. This is the steward's own little kink, but as long as he's not around, he won't. I need a bit of...
Yeah, I know you need a bit of something like wire. I have a piece of toothpick. Let me use it on the fucking thing.
Describes life in a small...
Oh my god. I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
I need a bit of...
No, that's not what I want. I wanted to examine the scissors. I need them, I know where to find them. Let's see.
Excuse me, Lady Westmacott.
Constable Zellner, how can I help you?
Can you sign my book?
Was
Fuck it.
wondering if you might...
Sign your book, Constable Zellner?
If it isn't too much of an inconvenience.
Of course it's an inconvenience, but only a small one.
Alright, so I'm thinking I could do either my Battlefield Hardline review, I'll read that next,
So very much.
or I have a Deus Ex Human Revolution review, or my Shadow of Mordor review, since I mentioned it earlier.
Another time. Farewell.
Constable.
If you can vote on which one you want to hear me read next, or I will simply choose one for myself. So I want to get at least one more review read before Wolbeats decides sleep is more important. Last one, Shadow of Mordor, the one I mentioned earlier. I can do that. Wait, if there's nothing ahead of this car, so where is the small child? Where did he get off to? You unabashedly love Shadow of Mordor. Yeah, I think it was a positive review, so let's see. Okay, maybe it wasn't as positive as I thought it was. Also, I was a very negative person 6 years ago, so I don't think any of my reviews were all that positive. Alright, here we go. Well, after a quick debacle with trying to rent a working copy of this game, and getting a copy that barely even worked in the slightest, I finally got to really get into this game so I can review it with all my everything. Short story short, renting video games sucks because movie rental companies could care less about video games and the people who want to play them. I also rented it on the 360, and not next-gen consoles because I am way too poor to afford any of that. Which is still the case. But less about renting games, and more about talking smack about them. Shadow of Mordor deserves both a smackdown and a loving hug. I have to applaud Monolith Productions for having the balls to take on such a huge project with a massive fanbase. With a series that is as followed as The Lord of the Rings, it's nigh impossible to make a game or movie that won't disappoint someone. Middle-earth is a world with such deep-rooted lore that touching it is either going to bless you or curse you for the rest of eternity. Like a deck of many things, if you choose to draw from it, you're giving yourself a 50% chance of being blessed beyond imagination, and a 50% chance of being cursed to the point of ceasing to exist. Shadow of Mordor managed to fall somewhere in between, by having just enough intrigue to pull itself out of the pit, but not blowing minds. My opinion has changed, by the way. I do genuinely really enjoy the game. I think part of it was that my copy was shit, that I got from the rental store. I have to say that the story really got my nerd juices flowing. Oh, I'd have to use that in a sentence. To my knowledge, the story of Shadow of Mordor was tied in flawlessly, but only to the movies. So no Tom Bombadil, thank the gods. It fits right as the second rise of Sauron began if my estimation was correct. Your character is a member of the Rangers, stationed on the Black Gate before it was taken by Sauron's forces. As you continue down the main storyline, you meet Gollum and learn who the ghost inside you is and what he did while he was alive. It manages to tie into the story of the rings, and give you a glimpse of places and things not truly explored by the movie or other games yet. I do address the fact that I had it on 360, and that I think that was a worse version. I think that's like 4 or 5 paragraphs down, though. On the topic of new things is the Uruk political system. You get to explore the way they have a simple system. That's a disgusting sentence. Led by 5 war chiefs and some captains who fight amongst themselves. You can use this to your advantage by either inciting battles among the Uruk, or that's Uruk, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, no, the nerd juice flowing thing was terrible. You can use this to your advantage by either inciting battles among the Uruk so your favorites can become the leaders, or so you can massacre them all while they're busy getting mad at each other. That was my favorite. By continuously running around murdering, you can clear out the entire leadership of the Uruks and then take advantage of the chaos to do just about whatever you want mid-rampage. Wait, hold up, I think I skipped a sentence. Take advantage of the chaos to do just about whatever you want without high-powered enemies stopping you mid-rampage. Yeah. Throw in the branding system to control any Uruk you come across, and you can simply take over the entirety of the regime and make it your own so you can call them into battle or just walk among them without too much trouble. Of course, the combat system was what everyone complained about, with it basically being the Batman Arkham free flow system. I would like to post a simple question for anyone who complains about that. Is that a bad thing? It's a time-tested system that has found a home in lots of mainstream games and rarely lets us down. From Assassin's Creed to Rise, the free-flow combat system is popular and works. Also, I was one of those few people who enjoyed Rise, Son of Rome, so I brought it up here as a good example of a free-flow system. But honestly, that's not totally the case here. The counter system is painful to try to get to work in your favor, and it feels way too slow and clunky. I failed to get into the groove of things like I always did in Batman or Assassin's Creed, being Assassin's Creed 4. My hit counter never went very high, and the lack of a long-range defense system made archers and long spear wielders infuriating. However, they did make up for it a bit by adding a last stand ability. This way, even if you die, you have a chance to get back up, but it only works twice before it simply stops. Now for the fun part. It's time to lay the smackdown on a game like nobody's business. Luckily, Shadow of Mordor had no lack of issues, so this is going to be a breeze. First off is characterization, which this game gives us the illusion of having nailed it. It forms this illusion by using artifacts that you then find with memories attached to them. These often flesh out characters a bit by giving some backstory you couldn't have gotten otherwise. But that right there is the issue. If you don't get these artifacts, these characters remain a mystery, and a massive chunk of the story is lost to you. Plus, if you get these artifacts early, you can have information that your character doesn't actually express, such as knowing who the dwarf's partner was before he hints at it, or knowing that he's also dead with the bonus of how he died. So if you're not a completionist, achievement hunter, or if you simply don't care to listen to the memory, be prepared for huge sections of story to not exist. Yeah, no, I would absolutely compare the lore in Shadow of Mordor to a Destiny grimoire, but the good side being at least Shadow of Mordor's stuff was in-game. I'm gonna go back and try this again. I've compared this game to Assassin's Creed earlier in the combat section, but to be honest, it's basically Assassin's Creed Middle-earth. However, they managed to beat them in a smoother climbing mechanism with less obvious climbing paths, and the ability to climb almost anywhere. The downside is constantly running into unclimbable walls, climbing things you don't want to climb, and all around watching your character not do what you want him to do. It's infuriating, especially if you're trying to evade enemies or sneak through somewhere, only to nail an Uruk with your butt because he climbed onto the wrong side of the wall, or being backed into a corner because the wall was unclimbable. Now, this section is a bit weird, because I'm unsure of why this was. When I first rented the game, the disc was so scratched, and so I was seeing graphical issues, lag, and total crashes. However, even after getting a newer, cleaner disc, only the lag during cutscenes and crashes went away. I had complete areas not rendering, sections of walls not rendering, slow motion sections lagging, and my favorite, Uruk kept his talking by moving only their tongue, which I wish to God I had a clip of that. That sounds horrifying. So I put money on the transition from next-gen consoles to older ones, being the cause of graphical issues, but I didn't have to do much because basically the game was broken. Add in the fact that most of the slow motion sections were high-level enemies entering and attacking you. The lag there was infuriating, especially combined with the fact that you had to watch them enter ever so slowly while being unable to do anything. New section just for the Uruk issues. The captains are special high-power enemies who can be basically anyone, and if you don't have intel on them, they can be almost impossible to defeat. Plus, when you're weak and running away, is their favorite time to show up. There's even a special skill just for that. Less on how naturally infuriating are, and more on how unnaturally infuriating they are. If you don't immediately kill them, you have to cross blades with them and listen to the trash talk while your character stares past them at a flower or something like that. I always love that. His eyes were terrible at focusing. Plus, this happens for every captain and becomes super irritating. What's worse is that when the trash talk, most of their mouths barely move at all. Probably related to the last glitch. But what drove me the most insane, or more than usual, was the sheer amount of loading sequences and how long they were. Okay, I'm gonna put this in perspective. There are loading sequences for opening the menu, looking at your weapons, checking the map, checking Sauron's army, loading all the challenges, listening to memories, closing the menu, the longest one, getting abilities, and starting any and all missions. Now you might say, there's loading things in every game for all these things, and you would be right. But they aren't so ridiculously long, and most didn't completely halt the game just so you can check the map. Even after installing the game, I still had to load screens for all these things, and they were barely shorter, back when installing games was an optional thing. A second or two at most. Especially when the game asked me to press back to check a challenge in bold letters only for it to take me more time waiting for it to load than it takes me to read it. Alright, as much as I want to trash talk this game, 5 paragraphs is totally enough. Was that 5? It felt way longer. Yeah, that's not 5 paragraphs, dude. I have a bit more that bothered me, but they're minor and can be overcome actually. Difficult side quests, Irritating screen pop-ups for challenges, and those stupid survival challenges mostly. I couldn't find 5 birds to save my life. I think I remember that. Honesty is my policy, and so I have to say it. I am incredibly disappointed. With how this game was almost unplayable on previous gen consoles, I would have preferred we didn't get it at all. Seriously, don't tease us with chocolate and then give us a dog turd. I would have preferred it if you said, this chocolate won't work on previous gen consoles. So much as I wished for more, I know why it didn't happen. Fortunately, 71 out of 100 is all I can give. No higher than 75, no lower than 65 for its uniqueness and style. And that was my review for Shadow of Mordor. Which, I did definitely enjoy the game. Man, was it glitchy. I'm trying to figure out how to use this item. Like, I feel like I have to use it on that drawer, but it doesn't seem to work. Can I combine it with something? Is it like... combine it with a pencil or something? Butterscotch. Book. Toothpick. Butterscotch. Book. Pills.
For brave
Thing.
Constable Anton Jakob Clarissa.
So, Shadow of Mordor was definitely a good game, but man, did it have some issues. Yeah, no, once I got the Xbox One version, my opinion of it went way up. Because I was like, this is just so much better.
It will be suicidal to climb up there while the train is at full speed. The wind, the tunnels. No, I'll stay down here.
That little bit. I have considered doing more reading for my YouTube channel. And I think some of my other reviews have more good in them. But I always enjoyed the negative sections more, which I still do.
Mrs. Miller made a good
I mean,
impression. She wanted to protect
I could fucking...
I imagine.
I could read hentai. But at the same time, like, I'd have to put the pictures up on screen. I can't do that on YouTube. They wouldn't let me. I would get demonetized so fucking fast. Well, to be fair, it's not like it's monetized anyways. Wait, question. Can I just, like, use the toothpick here?
I don't believe that... It's no use. The bolt is too short to get a good grip on it. The door is locked. I'm at a loss without a key.
Yeah, I
or a
noticed. Key or a proper tool, like a toothpick. Can I get open with a toothpick? Pencil? No? What do you have to say, buddy?
Professor Lucien?
Yes? Do you have the key?
Actually, I wanted...
Please, I have to go back to my compartment.
Perhaps a thoughtful conductor noticed...
A shit sandwich, that's a good way of describing it. Positive, negative, positive. Also, part of me hates to do this, but part of me also doesn't. I'll be back in a second, and then I will pick a second review to read, hopefully one that's more positive. I'll see if I can find a positive one. Those beans are... I shouldn't have put a ton of hot sauce on my beans, but I did. You get a nice relaxing train ride while you wait, because fucking I am only capable of making bad decisions. And eating an entire like Tupperware container's worth of beans smothered in hot sauce is near the top of those bad decisions.
If I may trouble you once more. A passenger is missing her purse. Perhaps you've seen it.
So, there are thieves on the
I
train.
think my
It's
Mad
been
Max
missing for
review was
some
pretty
time now.
positive.
Probably since Zurich.
The Swiss don't let go of money easily, do they? Oh, no, I haven't seen the purse.
Have a good trip.
Thank you.
I think Deus Ex has the highest score I gave out of all of them. Let's open my notebook, let's see. Locked compartment. It's locked. Thanks for telling me. I should have listened to myself. Dude, bad decisions are like my talent.
Baroness seems to have a
Special personality.
I better not bother her until I find her purse.
Batman Origins I gave a pretty high review. Well, relatively by comparison to the rest of these, I think. I'm trying to decide which one to read next. Oh, I put Mad Max above Deus Ex. Holy shit. Okay, I have to read my Mad Max and Human Revolution reviews because I want to know what made Mad Max better than Human Revolution.
The little boy,
Matt, the boy.
He's your son?
Oh, yes.
He's your son, and where the fuck has he been?
No, I've already met him. Clever little fellow.
We always call him Professor because he's
So
precocious.
we'll start with
Only
Deus
thing
Ex because
drives
it's
the mischief out of him.
it's the lower review. Also, it's interesting. I can already see stuff just skimming over my review
Did you
that the
anything unusual?
newer version actually improved upon.
I'm afraid
They did the
not.
re-release and the remaster, the director's
She's
cut,
always got an awful lot to do, Madam
which I
Secretary.
ended up being able to buy later.
Tell me if that's not all right with you. Good Lord, child. Knit as much as you want.
So, nothing out of the ordinary.
No, Constable.
I think I still have my copy of the director's cut around here somewhere. I mean, this specific bad choice of eating things I know are gonna make me sick is not a new choice, but beans specifically
no.
are a new choice.
Nor have I. Have you asked my little boy? Maddie is good at finding things.
I haven't asked him yet, but I will. Goodbye, Mrs.
I haven't seen your kid in a while. But she's like, oh, Matt's good at finding things. Have you seen him? I have not. Child is run. So here is a dramatic reading of my Deus Ex review. Do I want to stay in this? No, because I don't want to listen to that guy banging on the door the entire time I'm reading the review. If you don't mind, I'm going to... Excuse me, out of my way. Thank you. I'm going to stand here while I read it. And we can enjoy the not repetitive at all scenery that's going by the window. Thanks to a pair of gift cards to GameStop worth a total of $5, I managed to go online and pick up a pair of titles for $3. I decided upon John Woo Presents Stranglehold and Deus Ex Human Revolution. I think John Woo was $1 and Deus Ex was $2. I started with Deus Ex since the hype for the new game matched the hype I remember from the last game, despite being too poor to even think about buying it. I finished Deus Ex about 10 minutes ago, and I have to say I'm very impressed. So I've seen pictures of Deus Ex in action, apparently one of the endings. I realized this early on though and managed to wipe it from my memory for the majority of the game. Despite having most of the major plot points already ruined for me, I managed to get invested in the story. I was dragged in quickly, which is a good sign, by showing me characters and toys I'd be seeing later in the game. You get a tour of the main building and a quick intro to the characters and world that I'd be experiencing. Then, in true cliched fashion, the bad guys show up and start causing trouble in my neighborhood. Oh, I can't believe I'd put a fucking Fresh Prince reference in there. I got in one little fight and my boss got scared. Oh, I kept going with it too. I didn't stop at the one bit. I got in one little fight and my boss got scared and said you're getting augmentations and taking revenge. I promised never to do that again, but I didn't promise I wouldn't read it on stream 6 years later. Combat is a little awkward at first, since it's all in first person except for when you're in cover or you do certain actions. It gives you a medium length section to sort of get used to the controls, during which I learned how easy it was to die. But all in all, the longer you go, the more combat feels better. Combat sucked in the first one, I'm gonna be honest. Getting more augments, mechanical upgrades, allows combat to very smoothly scale up in difficulty instead of the quick spikes some games suffer from. Combat is also very varied depending on who you're fighting, what style you're playing, what you have, and even the environment. All these variables and more make sure combat never really gets dull. There's always a new weapon, augment, or tactic to try out. Overall, a well done combat system with little room for improvement. That was a lie. The second Deus Ex game made leaps and bounds in improving the combat. And fucking past Andrew never had any idea what they were about to throw at me. I have to admit though, what really caught me off guard was the free roam sections. I was expecting a linear-ish level design closer to Splinter Cell. What I got was very wide open areas to explore in between. Okay, sorry. I got a message that popped up on my phone over what I was trying to read. With two big open areas like... Okay, yeah. What I got was very wide open areas to explore in between heavy story-driven missions. With two big open areas like this, it gives you more characters to interact with, more experience to gain, more side quests, and more gear to find. Almost everything was jam-packed full of more content than I expected. Surprises around every corner and cool stuff everywhere I looked. And don't get me started on Jensen. I have a newfound crush on his character. That crush has not stopped. Speaking of characters, that's just the start of my complaints. Or that's the start of my complaints. A lot of characters were just reused models. One of the weapons dealers is just a voiced civilian, and the civilians are just basically the same 3 or 4 models repeated for each area, with only slight reskins for each. This only bothers me because the rest of the game is really polished. Everything feels so vibrant except for the NPCs. They really just linger like boring black backdrops. They might as well have been reused models of plants. They don't really do a whole lot more. Ow. Oof. Really mean to the plant-based NPCs. Speaking of NPCs, who in the 9 hells designed those boss fights? Ooh, I knew that had to come up. I played a massively stealth-centric character with a ton of non-lethal takedown abilities and weapons, only to be attacked by a Goliath of a man with a chain gun for an arm. Of course he tore me to pieces. I had to retry several times before beating him. Next was a stealth girl who snuck around and hit you with tiny bombs that set off the floor's electricity. Those damn floors. Then there's a boss who can use stealth, uses a gun that could 2-hit me, jumps over walls, and all while my augmentations are gone because I made a poor life choice. I almost quit because of that boss. I remember that boss. Still to this day, that boss kicks the shit out of me. Eventually I found a trick and managed to eke my way by. In the end, these boss fights really just ruined the mood for me. My last issue is kinda minor and kinda major at the same time. It's no secret that I'm a pack rat. I like my stuff, especially in video games. I like to have all my favorite stuff. Well, the inventory system is super annoying. I don't mind the square-based system, think Diablo, but my issue was a lack of storage. I had a pre-order bonus DLC that gave me a silent sniper and a sawed-off shotgun. Little did I know, the sniper would take up almost all of my inventory and be almost entirely useless less than halfway into the game. Since I paid $2 for the DLC, I didn't want to get rid of it, plus I had a couple upgrades on it, but I didn't have anywhere to put it, so I had to lug around this, and what ended up being a ton more, the entire game despite only using it a couple times. The feel of the game can actually be summed up with 2 words: Square Enix. The game reeks of Square Enix. Great story, awesome graphics, with massively broken mechanics. I am, however, willing to overlook this because the game was mostly well built. Despite being 4 years old and on the cusp of the graphic breakthrough, it can still stand up to games much younger. It's got a moderately high score with an 86. It's nearing that high point of gaming in the upper 90%, but it's held back by its painful boss fights and irritating item storage. Oh, here's an interesting bit. Apparently, I bought and reviewed the director's cut. Because on the end of this one, I say update. Apparently, the director's cut version fixed the boss fights. I have bought this and am going to do a half review for that with this game's final score. Director's cut update. So after going through the entire director's cut, I've decided to be even more lenient on this game. Biggest thing that I hated was the ridiculous boss fights, and while those were changed up a bit, they weren't really fixed. There's areas you have to hack stuff to get into, but since you're fighting a boss, you can't do that. You will die for sure if you attempt to hack while being hunted with a boss. However, it does add more vertical areas, which makes running away a viable option, and it opens up more long-range combat. The only other bad thing is the poor integration of a DLC mission and the Xbox Smart Glass connectivity. Because that was a thing back in the day where you could connect your smartphone to your Xbox, or a second screen, and it was bad. Both really just didn't work. I will forgive the DLC though, because it gives you a high power weapon, which is actually useless, but it's the thought that counts. The good points were the graphics. The new areas on the boss fights, they did add something, at least. The actual integration of the DLC, and my favorite, New Game Plus. It was really just what the game was lacking. While one DLC cuts away kinda too much, it's also one of the most interesting areas with new lighting effects, areas, and characters. It adds that little something. It's like putting cherries on the cake. It doesn't totally renovate the cake, but it's nice all the same. My new score has to be a 91. It's just too good like this. And once you know the game playing back through, it only gets more fun. And the director's cut lets you do that in style. See, I can be nice to games once in a while.
The violinist is a good-looking.
I'm not a complete asshole.
Through the most beautiful mountain landscape of the world. But one can only hope that his violin is better tuned than he.
I did a movie review? Oh, I thought this was a review of the Mad Max video game. No, this is a review of the Mad Max movie. I did a movie review. Ooh, fancy. Oh. I was wondering, I was like, I didn't like the Mad Max video game that much. No, I think my Deus Ex review is probably my best. Although I think for mean reviews, I wonder which one would be my best. Here, I'll go ahead and I already said I was gonna read the Mad Max review. Even though it's a movie review, I am still gonna read it. It's also much shorter, I think, than my other ones. Yeah, this is a review for Fury Road. I don't remember if the movie that was gonna be after Fury Road ended up coming out or not.
Lady Westmacott.
Constable Zellner, how can I help?
No, it's supposed to like theoretically exist, but
As a writer, you must be very observant.
I haven't heard anything about it. But this review is for Fury Road.
Behavior of people around you to create.
So yesterday I watched Mad Max Fury Road, and I have to admit I am thoroughly impressed. I haven't seen a movie of this caliber in years. I want to wait till they stop talking.
What do you want?
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I remember they were gonna release it, but they haven't released it. Yeah, I haven't seen a movie of this caliber in years. I was impressed from start to finish with its deep, meaningful underplot. What the fuck does that mean? Fast and brutal action, as well as the shots being as perfect as I've ever seen. Now, I'm not a movie reviewer, I'm a game reviewer. Or at least I used to think of myself as one. Because I was fucking 18, and actually a dumbass. But I'm tossing my 2 cents into this bucket. In true Ultimate Nina fashion, I'm going to pick this movie apart to the best of my abilities, and then sew it back together, whatever's left of my review. I have to start with everyone's favorite complaint, the feminism. Oh god, an action movie with feminism. I love it. The male characters are all there to progress the story or add conflict, while the females of the cast are in the spotlight kicking ass and taking names. Even the movie's namesake is put on the back burner in order to better give light to the true nature of this film. Of course, feminist groups were all over this fact, but they are too busy complaining that they didn't get any new masturbation material. The roles given to men also weren't overly under the women. They often are shown as equals or fighting alongside women. It's the true image of feminism we've begged for. So you'll notice that I'm sticking to talking about the men's roles. That's because I am a man, and I don't want to try and talk about feminism from a woman's perspective when I am not in their shoes completely. Now I'm just going to talk about the fun stuff. I love cars. And the cars in this movie were wild, untamed, and crazy, just how I like them. But not only do we get high-octane beasts roaming the wastelands and blowing up if they're realistic, they overheat, they break, and overall don't go too fast, because of the basic laws of physics and what they're being driven on. Sand. Not even the Fast and Furious, the most car-heavy movie I can think of, gave us this level of depth to our cars. It's like they had personalities themselves, like they were characters as well. Never before have we seen anything like this. Techno-paganism, anyone? God, I was such an edgy fucking 18-year-old. Undertones. Yeah, I think the word I was looking for was undertones. But also fucking... We're gonna ignore my reference to techno-paganism, please. But what about the supporting cast or the special effects? I honestly didn't pay a whole lot of attention to this. I sort of skimmed it. From what I've been told, most of the explosions and such were practical stunts, and not CG, which blows my mind. The supporting cast was fabulous, but I was busy watching the cars. I have a bit of a thing for cars. Just a bit. However, when discussing the movie, one character, whose storyline I won't spoil, developed massively. It's that feeling of seeing your hero as nothing but a human. And he didn't just turn 180 instantly. First he cried. A brutal man in a brutal movie basically curled up in a ball and cried. But it gave him depth. His character became something of a symbol for what could be. The whole movie can almost be summed up by his development. I don't remember what character I was talking about. Now, I love this movie and it's going into my top 5 movies at least, if not 3 or more. But it's never a true Ultimate Nina review if I don't tear it apart. And I did actually have complaints. 2, to be exact. There are 2 scenes I saw which took me out of the movie and killed the mood, if only for a few seconds. The first was a character death where they fell under a crashing car and were crushed by its tire. Skip to the next scene and their body shows no sign of having a car on top of it. Now, I didn't really want a ton of gore, but I would have been happy had that scene of the body just not happened. For those of you who watched it and wanted to say character development, come fight me. Again, don't fucking remember what I was talking about. The second was a pure CGI scene. So there's a huge dramatic crash with explosions and flying debris and it's totally CGI. Pretty sure that's the scene with the tornado. Now in a movie that had done this before, it might have been okay, but in contrast to the rest of the beautiful practical effects of the rest of the movie, this felt stupid. I'm sure it looks radical in 3D. Because of my glasses and bad eyesight, I can't see movies in 3D. So you've added a scene to a near perfect movie that I can never enjoy to its fullest. That pissed me off. Every movie being forced into 3D is killing it for the rest of us who can't afford or watch 3D. So screw you, ruining my perfect car porn. To wrap everything up, Mad Max Fury Road was fantastic, gory, violent, car-tastic, feminist, and shot beautifully. It's the first Ultimate Nina's movie pick since possibly ever. I've never seen a movie in theaters that got me like this movie did. Hell, I had memories I didn't remember brought back. That is something not even my therapist could achieve. On my usual scale of 100, Mad Max gets a 93. I have to dock 2 for the body scene and 5 for the CGI scene, but it was still almost perfect. Yeah, I fucking love that movie.
Just walked into the next carriage with a cup of tea.
I did. He seemed nervous.
Like,
he was waiting
damn.
for the steward, and since the steward never appeared, he elected to help
Fucking...
himself. He took 2 biscuits.
Yeah, I love that movie and it definitely shows how much I loved it.
I'll have to talk to him later.
Also, just...
Courtesy, of course.
It's so weird reading these older reviews because who I am now and who I was then is so wildly different. Like, my skills in writing have grown better. My skills of, like, pacing out my writing has gotten better. I have changed my views on a lot of things. I used to be a different religion, even. But Joe, please, don't get me started on that bit.
I certainly did. He introduced himself and tried to make a good impression. People like him are drawn to wealth and fame, like moths to a flame.
But his charms failed on you.
I know him by name. David Kreutzer. He was a drain on my friend.
What haven't you watched? Have you not watched Fury Road?
A money problem?
Did you live with me for
No matter how
like 2 years and not watch Fury Road? How the fuck?
and complain that they have far too little.
I don't know. I just kind of fell out of it. Like I used to very much lean towards it, and I do still kind of like agree with a lot of the ideas of techno-paganism, but I just don't quite resonate with it like I used to. And also, dude, go fucking, for the fuck's sake, go watch Mad Max Fury Road. Mad Max Fury Road is like,
I need a bit of
it's one of like the greatest fucking movies I've ever seen. I still 100% stand by that fact. I'm assuming I just can't pick the lock with that. Need a bit of wire or something is what he's saying. Oh yeah, I started The Mandalorian, but I don't know if I intend to finish it. Probably not. Maybe that's the next fucking show I need to review so I can be the one person to give it a negative review.
First, I better see about getting the door. It doesn't seem like I'll get anything out of it.
It's... Well, people say that. They're like, well, it's kind of slow. Like, you know, you need to just watch more. And it's like, well, if it's slow, I don't want to watch more. Like, I don't want to watch a show that's, you know, going at a snail's pace. People said the same thing to me about, like, some other shows. I think you're in the same boat I'm in. Where people, the way they talked about the movie was they were like, or talked about The Mandalorian. I keep calling it a movie, but it's not a movie. But they keep just saying it's like the greatest movie, show, whatever, in like years, and I'm like, it's fine, I guess. Like, I'm not exactly super into it and excited, but it's not bad. Also, I'm mildly saving the large bulk of my opinions for tomorrow. Also, I think I said the exact same thing the other day. I was,
I suppose it contains tools. At any rate, it's positioned so that it's easier to reach.
I was streaming the other day, and that's what I said. I compared Mandalorian to Game of Thrones.
Locked.
Bang! Bang!
Huh?
Don't move!
Mad? Have you gone mad?
I'll shoot! Hey, my pistol!
You'll get it back in
Fuck your
Venice.
pistol.
I could have fallen under the wheels.
I thought you were a ghost.
Ghosts don't exist.
They do too. Once you
I'll
go past the window.
I'll consider finishing season 1 by tomorrow so we can talk about it.
Oh, man.
Also, I guess there's the kid. I had to fucking interact with the box to trigger that scene. So I needed to interact with that one box. That's what I was missing. Also, we got another like 30 minutes or so, so I'm considering reading like one more review, maybe two, and then calling it for the night, because I'm going to watch Endgame, Avengers Endgame with someone tonight, so I can have opinions on that.
Make any trouble for you, I hope. It's just that he
Almost knocked me off the fucking thing.
Seething. That's usually a sign that someone's laid down the law.
I'm afraid so. He played a trick on me, a rather dangerous one. The lad left me no choice but to take away his wooden pistol as a punishment.
I understand. And
Okay.
Maddie is a very lively child. Sometimes he needs a strong fatherly hand.
Where is Matt's father, if I may ask?
No, I know as a white man,
He's gone.
generally I want to be like,
I understand.
oh, I have opinions on everything,
Leave Maddie's
and I
pistol
do,
here, perhaps, so you don't have to bother
but
with it.
at the same time,
I told him he
I want to have
wouldn't
my
get it
own
back
opinions
until
on
Venice.
things, not other people's opinions on things.
Very well. Thank you again, Constable.
Alright. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna save my favorite review for the last. But before that, should I read Battlefield Hardline, Time Shift, or Wet? Which of those three reviews sound the most interesting? We got Time Shift, Wet, or Battlefield Hardline. And then I'm holding on to my my absolute favorite for last. Because I have one game that's still my like favorite bad game.
Oh, come on. Are you going to be angry with me for the rest of the trip?
Until I get my pistol back.
I gave it to your mother.
Oh man, couldn't you have just raked me over the coals?
Would you have learned anything from that?
I didn't learn anything from this either.
That's fair. That's fair, kid.
Come on, Matt. Did you really think that you can ignore me for longer than I can ignore you? I'm Swiss. It's practically a national sport.
What?
Matt is digging in his heels. I won't get anything out of him as long as he's angry with me. Matt is digging in his... I won't get...
Okay, so Matt's mad. I have to make Matt happy, which I guess would be giving back his pistol, but fuck that. But I think I need something from him. Can I ask his mother for his pistol back?
Uncomfortable for her when I talk to her in front of Lady Westmacott. She seems to take... Although she's just knitting. Taking up a craft like that is typical of women who were told as little girls that idleness is a... I think... Although...
Okay. That's the same thing. I do not think I want to go by that schedule. Topic 1. Women's bodies, are they human? Feminism is white genocide and what it means for you. Does the Mandalorian have too many actors of color? Why the black community needs to do? Why the demo rats are coming for your whiteness? You just want to talk about that because you're getting a lot of notes on your tweet about that.
I need a bit of
You had one good tweet and it went to your head. I picked the lock with this now? No. Okay. I'm almost surprised you haven't muted it by now.
Ah, Mr. Zellner.
God, I'm not surprised that they've almost doubled. People are really fucking railing on that hashtag.
It was a pleasant chat, really.
But alright, I'm gonna read my review for Wet now. And then I'm gonna read for my review for Stranglehold because that game is an absolute godsend. So, it's been way too long that I've spent away from video games. Thanks to financial issues and lots of moving around and stuff, I haven't been able to really sit down and play for almost 2 months now. Coming back felt weird at first, but I picked a great game to start on. Before I reviewed John Woo's Stranglehold... What? Why did I do that? That's a terrible, like, segue. It was a horror... Before I reviewed John Woo's Stranglehold, it was a horrifying pile of awesome. Wet was the exact same. Biggest difference is that instead of John Woo, this game feels like it was directed by Quentin Tarantino. I'm not a film person, but I felt like I was playing Kill Bill or Reservoir Dogs. It was almost too much fun. Think of a movie stereotype. a guy with a boat who's your friend, taxi driver ally, spider named bad guy, albino bad guy, swordsman bad guy, Asian bad guy, British bad guy, nameless and faceless enemies, cutting off hands, burning building fight, getting injured then getting revenge, getting captured then tortured, flashbacks, prologue, rat-themed enemy, death arenas. The list only gets longer. They're all in there. Out of all the bad, quote-unquote, games I've played, this is weirdly one of the best. It was the developer behind the new Wolfenstein game, so I guess they had it in them somewhere to make really amazing games. This was our first glimmer. The focus of this game appeared to be to make it a movie. It had over-the-top violence, great shooting sequences, and high-flying stunts. The main character was the definition of a femme fatale with witty one-liners and a pair of pistols in her belt. I basically watched as everything unfolded. It was a basic tale of revenge. So basic I just stopped paying attention, which isn't really a bad thing. I have two favorites that really stuck out to me with this game. Number one was the combat. It really had a sense of strict progression. You find yourself becoming more skilled and using most of the new abilities you unlock, if you choose to unlock them. It lends a sense of getting somewhere when the plot just doesn't hold water. God, I'm really just going to keep making fun of it every time I give it a compliment. I chose to go for the more skilled route by getting all the abilities instead of upgrading my guns, which came back to bite me, but not as badly as I expected, which I was okay with. However, some abilities weren't as useful as I would like. Secondly to that is the freaking awesome soundtrack, with a full rock album that incorporates rock and metal with Texas and Spanish sounding stuffs. Texas and Spanish sounding stuff? What the fuck does that even mean? Where? Oh, there it is. The main character uses twin pistols and wears what could be considered Old West attire in some form, so the music fits to her style. When the music kicks things up a notch, it's usually in time with the game almost perfectly, which even the best games can't seem to nail down, until Doom came along. Especially when using rock songs to augment their set list. So kudos to Artificial Mind and Movement. I think they changed names after this game, but I'm going to use this name, for doing such a fantastic job on that front. Is Artificial Mind and Movement the same people who eventually went on to become Machine Games, I guess? I don't know. The last good thing was one more gameplay and stylistic choice wrapped together. At points, the game has an enemy charge Ruby, and Ruby must be the main character's name, I never mentioned that, and get their blood on her face. Well, this activates some sort of beast mode where the world turns to shades of red, black, and white while giving you ramped up damage. It's freaking awesome. You tear through these areas, which are super interesting looking. It gives a chance for you to really cut loose and just tear into some guys with little to no challenge. It also lent a little more style to an already super stylized game. But is that a good thing? How about no? It's not. While I love the style, there were these weird cutaways for these weird commercials you might see in an old cinema. They were strange and really took away from the game. I know they wanted the game to feel like a movie, but these things felt like being slapped in the face by that fact. Add on way too much usage of a classic cinema filter, and it's sometimes really painful to watch. I was getting a borderline headache from the usage of this shaky cinema style. I just wanted it to stop. Even the menu has those weird lines on it. I forget what they're called besides irritating. But how about this? Anybody remember Assassin's Creed 2? Remember trying to control Ezio? I'm sure your controllers carry the scars from being thrown across the room. Well, this game is sometimes worse. At points I had no idea where to climb, and as such died a lot, and more often than not I found the controls infuriating. The game designers also decided that in almost every section, if you fall into an area you already passed, instead of having to run back up to your spot, you just drop dead. Yep, most climbing sections have instant death below them, even if it's an area you've already been to. Figure that one out. My biggest issue has to be the arenas. There's sections where you have to cut something with your sword in order to shut doors. This gets worse and worse as you have to do some really crazy acrobatics with that crappy system in order to shut the doors. Oh, I don't explain it well, but enemies spawn out of the doors. All while a literally unlimited supply of enemies spawn all around you. It's easy when you are early in the game, but once they add in chain gun enemies and sword wielding enemies who block bullets, it becomes nigh impossible. I had sections where I was stuck doing these areas over and over again, because even with as much health as the game would let you have, I would die in about 10 seconds being out in the open. Also keep in mind, most of these areas are totally open areas with little to no cover. Plus, your health doesn't regenerate unless you have a combo going. So yeah, it sucks. Put all that together, and what you get is Quentin Tarantino the game. Blood, gore, swearing, in-depth threats, and really vague euphemisms. Should have referenced feet in here somewhere. Should have made a Quentin Tarantino foot fetish joke. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If you love that man and his movies, this is the game for you. It may not have his name in it, but it has his soul. And his soul is worth a total of a 75 score. It's good, but not too good. You'll like it, but you might not buy a second ticket to see it again. A cult classic this might just be, if you care enough to look. I'm surprised I was so complimentary to Wet. By this time, I've completely forgotten the game. I forgot it even existed until I was scrolling through my fucking list of reviews. But now it's time for my magnum opus. The review to end all reviews. My Stranglehold review. This game is like fucking legendary amongst my old friends group because it was so good. It was good, but it was also total garbage. So, brutal honesty here. I don't think I could ever describe what I just experienced. That was a trip from getting to end. John Woo Presents Stranglehold was from the top to the bottom an action movie in video game form. Basically, the result of a team of programmers watching every action movie with Chinese mobsters, cops, and guns in it, then dropping a bucket load of drugs before mashing out a game. Every action movie trope I could think of showed up in this game at least once. It had Chinese mobsters, slow motion shooting, Russian mobsters, a Russian mobster named Vlad, mobsters in tracksuits, helicopters, static shooting sections, doves, no reloading, dual-wielding pistols, witty one-liners, a cameo from the director, a Chinese restaurant, your wife is the mob leader's daughter, a plot to kidnap your daughter, cops, an angry cop boss who talks a lot about paperwork, and that's only half of it. Time to dive in and attempt to review this questionably amazing game. Yeah, that's about how I describe it, still to this day. Firstly, I've got to talk about plot. I usually save this for later, but this is what really stood out to me. You play a Hong Kong detective by the name of Tequila, seriously, who has a wild and erratic style of police work. He doesn't play by the rules, he gets the job done. You strike out on your own to stop a gang from doing a deal with another gang. The deal goes south and you discover that the plot goes deeper than you knew. It turns out your daughter and wife, the daughter of the head of the mob, have been kidnapped by Russian mobsters. You have to go on a journey of bloodshed to get back your family. I couldn't make up this stuff if I wanted to. Now usually, such a boring and cliched plot would drive me up a wall. But with this, it actually had a sort of charm, like it was a parody of itself. Almost all the plot points were utterly predictable, and plot holes abound, but it was too fun to really make them noticeable. Think Fast and Furious. It's so dumb, it wraps around to being somewhat amusing. Plus, I have to admit I was too busy diving everywhere to pay attention to even the slightest amount of story. I knew that was going to happen and just sort of picked up on all the really blunt story pieces. What about the gameplay? Well, let me tell you about the glory that is Tequila Time. When you dive, slide over stuff, slide down rails, or run on certain things, the game slows into slow motion. This allows you to line up shots mid-roll, slide, dive, or whatnot, and it is literally called Tequila Time. So when you're sliding down a handrail of some stairs, you can be shooting your pistols as you go. I've never seen anything so action hero in my life. It's super slow bullet time, so it's like the Matrix beats Last Action Hero. Why is Last Action Hero the movie I went with? Really? Last Action Hero? I must have just watched that on Netflix. Just lots of ridiculousness driven to the point of amazing. Throw in special abilities called Tequila Bombs, and you've got yourself a game. Why did they name everything Tequila? The special abilities include an aim shot, unlimited ammo, plus a damage boost temporarily, and spinning in a circle, shooting your guns wildly, killing anybody nearby, plus doves. The spinning ability spawns doves that fly around you as you shoot. Seriously though, the sheer volume of doves in this game is something else. Never before have special abilities been this ridiculous. To top off the ridiculousness of this game is the ability to run on extremely thin things like handrails and pipes. Don't worry though, you can keep shooting while you do it. In slow motion too. They also use this to form some sort of weird half puzzles. They're not really challenging, they just make you pause for about 2 seconds looking for that one object you need to shoot. It's not always easy to find. For its time, the destruction was really good too. It boasts HD graphics, which I scoffed at, but they did a really good job considering the game came out in 2007. And they weren't 1080p 60 FPS, but for its time, it was most likely up there towards the cutting edge. I honestly don't think this is true. Even though the destruction got me killed more often than not because the enemies could see straight through cover and shoot at you, I still enjoyed watching stuff crumble as I shot it or it blew up. Speaking of enemies, shooting you through cover is one of its bad points, which this game has plenty of. And surprise, they're almost all pretty simple and connected to the good points. See, the NPCs have no survival instinct and X-ray vision. They will do one of three things: stand in a preset spot, run around aimlessly, or chase after you relentlessly, ignoring all gunshot wounds. Doesn't matter what you're doing, they will do one of these things. Farther into the game, the more they just become the relentless type. It doesn't matter if you're in cover or standing on a pipe, they will hunt you down and shoot at you the whole way there. And of course, the game's story being full of cliches and being predictable concepts doesn't help to drive the game. Think of it like the green beans beside the main course. You really don't usually want them, but they are a part of the meal. So you eat them to be polite even though you don't really want or enjoy it. I know I talked up the story as funny earlier, but towards the end it gets a little tiresome. And that's my main issue with the game. The farther into the game, the more tiresome it gets. Especially during the extremely difficult sections where I found myself dying several times. Kamikaze AI, guys, it's a beast. During these sections, I was more frustrated with the over-reliance the game has on the tequila time and tequila bombs. Still funny though. I could pull off a headshot in almost any game you put me in. I could think tactically and overcome most obstacles. However, in this game, even headshots didn't always hit correctly. What I mean is, a straight-to-the-face headshot has about a 70% chance of actually being a kill, unless you're in a tequila time or using an ability. But what's the overall review? It's a fun ride. If you just turn your brain off, put it on easy, and pour yourself your favorite drink, you'll love the game. I highly doubt it'll be worth another playthrough for at least a couple of months, but it'll probably end up knee-deep in bullets again at some point. So I bought it for $1. I'm highly unlikely to really care too much. I forgot that I bought this game for $1 at fucking GameStop. I was expecting a nigh unplayable game, but I got a fun little experience. Something I'd recommend doing at least once. We all have that one crap game that we just love for being so bad. This is mine for now. Score-wise, I'm gonna go with a 79. It wasn't super fun to play and worth $1. It was super fun to play and worth $1. It wasn't quite a medium ranking title, but it was certainly close. And those are that's several of my old game reviews. Not all of them, but several. And I still to this day, I fucking love John Woo's Stranglehold. That game is still fucking amazing.
Would you like a butterscotch?
Also, I know I've been
I've
been completely ignoring the
as a peace offering.
Just 4?
If I'm fast,
I've been ignoring the game in the background just to read reviews, just because I love reading my old reviews. They suck, but they're fun to read.
All right then. And no
Keep going with this for a bit longer, then I'm gonna go watch Avengers Endgame, because I need to finally actually get around to doing that.
Completely different this time. The Baroness in the second compartment over there is missing her purse. Do you have any idea where it could be?
Do I ever? That guy over there with the violin case?
I'm expecting it's gonna be alright, but I'm watching it with someone else, and that's what I care about.
Put it in his violin case.
Really?
Yeah, and he made sure that nobody saw him.
But you saw him.
Uh-huh.
Did you also see what it was?
Nah, not really. But
Like,
now
I'm
that I
not
think of it,
there for the movie. God, I hope it's gay.
I should look into it, shouldn't I?
If it isn't gay, then why would I do it? Here for the gay.
Tell me, have you seen the steward anywhere?
Also, I'm on that one Discord that I use for Among Us, and someone started posting trap memes in there.
I'm looking for
I started fucking...
Did you check his things behind
I'm sure the drawers will be locked.
Can't you break it open? Or pick the lock like the Raven?
But I
you got blocked by Automod.
Ask my mom. She has a lot of hairpins. She doesn't like the wind
Thanks for the tip.
Fucking. I had to fucking. I had to let that pass the auto mod. The auto mod stopped your message. I don't think they were being homophobic. I think they were trying to avoid people being homophobic. And I get it, but also it's fucking hilarious.
Case looks pretty old. The best violin. I doubt the violinist will. Excuse me, sir. About the purse.
Ah, yes? Has it been found?
Someone saw you with your violin case on the platform.
You're like, I want to make fun of my own identity. Fuck you.
I didn't steal anything.
Nobody said you did. I just wanted to ask you.
Ah,
Why did you?
well, I thought because you.
Apropos, may I have a?
That's not possible.
Very bad. Then, what could harm? May I ask you to open the violin case?
No, you may not. I'm not guilty of anything.
I'm not guilty of anything, so fuck you.
Insist.
Then I'm afraid you need a warrant.
Have a good trip.
Thank you.
Have a good trip, you bastard. Yeah, I'm also laughing my ass off because that's the first time I've ever seen an automod message. Everyone has so far been civil enough in my chat that automod has never needed to turn itself on, and of course, the moment you fucking start talking to my chat, automod's like, shit, I gotta do something about it. Also, that's not a threat. Don't push my automod. Gonna get us both in trouble if you start fucking trying to poke and prod at my automod. Just making sure to fucking tell you don't do it. Yeah, you'll never get your fucking mukbang stream if I end up being suspended for something you went and said in chat.
Inspector Lebron?
Anything to report?
I do have something to report.
Interesting.
Indeed, sir.
But it has...
So...
why not? But don't expect me...
I'll get...
Good.
Alright, I'm out. Peace. Later. Goodbye. I forgot how much I'm not a fan of this game. And subtle reminder that I gave John Woo's Stranglehold, a game I bought for $1, GameStop, a higher review than this game. Pretty sure I gave Time Shift a higher review than I did this game, and Time Shift is shit. Time Shift was garbage. Hold up, out of curiosity, what score did I give Time Shift? Let's see. Let's see if I can walk down the hallway.
Tell me now.
Yeah, I gave Time Shift a higher score by about 17 points.
The violinist won't let me check his violin case.
Of course he won't. He's hiding something. Should I distract him? Then you can have a look at his case.
What do you suggest?
I could tell him there's a suitcase full of money in the next carriage. If he's a thief, he'll definitely want to take a look at it.
I don't think he'll fall for that.
Or I can insult him and then run away. He'll try to catch me, and you'll have a chance to look in that vial.
Now that I think about it, this is something I have to attend to.
Little boy.
Sorry, Sheriff.
Wait, I'm stuck. I can't move. I can't move. Kim won't let me move. Really? Really? I haven't even done that much in the game and I've already run into a glitch. This is why I gave you a 45 review score for 6 years ago.
Hi, Matt. What I wanted to ask is... I'll come...
That happens at your...
Goodbye.
The violinist...
Hello, violinist.
Matt says the violinist put the question. Matt says the question.
Give him a thing. No. What if I stab him with a toothpick? No. Still, no. Pills? No. Okay. Hey buddy, still can't get you in there. Sorry, not my problem. This is very deep adventure game stuff. Also, the loading screens, man. Specifically that one. Yeah, I don't know what to do. So instead, since I don't currently have any... Well, I have more reviews to read, but I don't want to read them because I'm about to go watch Avengers Endgame. I'm going to go ahead and do that. That means I'm going to end it here. And I have to say, I hope you enjoyed listening to me read shitty 6-year-old reviews that I did back when I was a really bitter asshole. I am going to go and enjoy Avengers Endgame. Means I will catch you tomorrow, David. Fucking stream. Yeah. You get the chance to listen to what it would sound like from if I actually, you know, kept writing reviews. So, alright, I'm out. I will enjoy the game. Or not the gay. Ah, damn it, I keep fucking it up. I will enjoy the gay.